Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
I'm good, boys. Good morning to you guys.
Jesse, I know you've been listening in about trade possibilities. It's one thing to watch the Cubs, how they've been going right now, but again, it's about an upgrade offensively and pitching. So What's one of the avenues you think that they should travel?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely scouring the market for pitching. There's no doubt. I mean, name a team that's out of the race or on the bubble, and they've made those calls. They absolutely have. I still think that connection with the Marlins is there. I heard you guys talking earlier, whether it be Edward Cabrera, whether it be Sandy Alcantara, and don't count him out. I know the numbers aren't great, but the Cubs are willing to be one of those teams to buy low on someone, whether it be someone that's been hurt for a while and coming back or someone that's struggled, because they think their pitching infrastructure can change things and change things quickly. I would not rule Alcantara out, even though the last couple, 3 starts haven't been great. And Jed has coveted Cabrera's arm for a while. I mentioned him, I don't know, at least a month ago to you guys. And so I still think that connection is strongest, but it could come from anywhere. We still have a ways to go. Draft is this Sunday, and then it heats up. I mean, they're starting Chris Flexen today. They're having a bullpen game. They can't continue to do that post-break with Tyon out. So whether it be a new pitcher or giving it to Flexen, more than a bullpen game and just let him go start, I think we'll see some changes soon enough after the break.
Jesse, in terms of Sandy Alcantara, it would surprise me if they made that deal if the price was substantial. It would. He has been awful, and I do not see the Cubs pushing their chips in on a guy that he's been terrible. He has just not pitched well. I'll be surprised if they make that move.
Well, that's why I say buy low, Cap. You are so right. You're not giving up top guys at this point for him. But if you can buy low, and I think that is part of their strategy. I know people don't want to hear about it because it sounds like that just simply means they won't spend money. I think they're both will spend money in assets, but also try to buy low on a candidate or two. The Athletic mentioned a couple injured pitchers, Tanner Houck and John Gray. I've mentioned just 2 days ago, I think I said Shane Bieber is coming back. Cleveland.
What about Charlie Morton, Jesse?
Carter Hawkins knows him well. I saw him pitch as well. I heard you talk about that, Jay Hood, yesterday. I think there's a chance. He has absolutely righted the ship. He's looking like the, well, no pun intended, old Charlie Morton, meaning, before this year where he was pitching well in an older age. That's another buy low kind of candidate. It's not going to cost you much. So, again, I think they'll take the big swing and have assets to do it, but I also think they'll take smaller swings, and a guy like Charlie Morton would qualify. I don't know if they're going after
Adrian
Charlie
Hauser?
Morton, but it's possible.
Hauser?
Yeah, they'll talk to Chris Getz. I don't have any confirmation on it, but sure. I mean, council knows them, and this is what I mean by scouring the market. They're talking to anybody that has pitching, and there's going to be names that leak that already have, like I mentioned with Cabrera, and there's going to be plenty of names that don't leak. So you can't really go off of what you hear publicly. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. But, yes, of course they're going to talk to Getz about his available players.
Well, Jesse, just talk about how unusual this part of the season is versus others that you've covered, because they're not necessarily the huge names. And so what is that a byproduct of so many different contenders in the extra wild card, do you believe?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's why it's going to happen late. I'll give you some intel. I don't think the Royals are going to sell. In at least in the traditional sense. They might do a little buy, little sell. Apparently, their GM is telling people, we're not selling. They're making a new stadium push. For them to sell would be ripping apart their team in a sense. They don't have that many expiring contracts. So as of this moment, they're not selling. The Twins, it sounds like they will. The Cubs just played them. Chris Paddock is going to be a free agent. He didn't look good yesterday, and he doesn't miss bats, but that's just a name that will be out there. So Twins selling. Royals probably not. Cleveland, in my estimation, a little buy, little sell. But, yeah, I mean, Boston looked like sellers. Now they look like they won't because they're playing well. So, yeah, Jay Hood, the third wild card has complicated things and simply pushed everything to late July, which is no surprise. That's the best way I can put it.
Eugenio Suarez. Then Shaw gets the Birdie or Brujan role. Got to get another bat in here. You're getting destroyed when Dansby's in his lulls, and Shaw He's not there yet, man.
I just, I find fascinating about this guy every day, Jesse, is because he's got his wish list. And by the way, any team that's a contender should have a wish list. But you do realize, Cap, that there is a litany of teams, not just a few, a number of teams, not just first-place teams, wild-card teams, second wild-card teams. They'll be vying for the same group. You are actually going in the same pile of free agents. Just because the Cubs might be in there doesn't mean they're going to get what you're looking for. It's got to be, if you don't get Suarez, don't feel like you're jilted at the altar. There's so many others that you got to look at as well to fill the bill. You want the best, but then the bottom line is that what about the Phillies? What about the Mets? What about these other teams that's also vying for the same pile?
Don't disagree, but that's the guy I want. I want Eugenio Suarez in my lineup.
I think it's a luxury that they may not be able to have because of everything Jay Hood said. Let's go by priorities. I think there are other teams that are going to prioritize a bat more than the Cubs, meaning they're willing to give up more for Suarez than the Cubs would. Now, look, if it falls in their lap and of course, I'm with you. I've been watching Shaw. He did have a good sacrifice fly, got the ball to the outfield yesterday. But they are the best offense.
Oh, my God. Are we really going to throw a party that he got the ball to the outfield?
Yes, when he's struggling like that and he drove in a run.
Starting third baseman on a team that has the second-best record in the National League. Jesse, set our standards a little higher. It's not 2 o'clock and the bar's closing. Jesus.
Which is, for a team that's already has the best offense in baseball, he's playing Gold Glove caliber defense at third. All I'm saying, when you prioritize things, Suarez is not going to be the top of the list. And Jay Hood's right. The competition is going to be strong. If you're using big-name assets, Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara, it's got to be for pitching first. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes, the Cubs need that pitching. You don't think that the Dodgers are also looking, the Giants, Seattle, Houston, all these teams are going to be vying for the top. I'm just telling you,
some of those teams are not good in the hitting department, So they need the hitter more than the pitcher. The Cubs need the pitcher more than the hitter.
What about DJ LeMahieu being DFA'd, a guy who Theo, by his own admission, one day said, we just threw him in the deal, man.
Yeah,
that was
Ian
back
Stewart.
in 2012.
Yeah, your buddy Gordon Wittenmeyer likes to remind Theo of that deal. It was not a good. I think it was their first deal, right? I think it was their first trade. It was not a good one.
They traded him and Tyler Colvin.
Yeah, I made some
Ian
calls
Stewart.
yesterday. I made some calls yesterday. I did not get any response back about DJ LeMahieu to the Cubs. I mean, there was some – I just read this. I don't know. There's some talk about him not being able to play third because of his health.
Yeah,
well,
he said, I can't play third. My body's not there.
And it's the same thing that happened to Gleyber Torres with the Yankees last year. He said, I can't make the throw to first, and he got into hot water there, and they got rid of him too. So if he can't play third for the Yankees, I don't see how he could play third for the Cubs. So, but we'll see. He's a free agent now. We'll see how that plays out.
Any Sox news?
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend, especially today. Mark Burley statue unveiling. That's going to be interesting. And then catching up with a lot of the 2005 team. They're going to do this in between games today. I mean, still, people that are not old enough need to go back and look at what they did in the playoffs. I mean, 11-1. Just complete game after complete game after complete game by their starting staff in the ALCS. It's just insane. One of the best playoff teams anybody's ever seen, going 11-1 and just dominating. And go back and look at Kenny Williams' offseason leading into 05. Oh my God, it was one of the best off seasons you could ever imagine. So will be fun to see what this statue looks like and catching up with some of these guys, because that was one of the best playoff teams we've ever seen.
So for me as a White Sox fan, Jesse, it's just one of those things. It wasn't like the ramp up to the 16 championship for the Cubs. For the 05 White Sox, it came out of nowhere. It did. Because you can go through every single, Sports Illustrated, all the predictions. Nobody had the White Sox win the World Series. I just think it's one of those things where it was a pleasant, obviously, surprise for me. Because you go through that season and you have immaculate pitching, the best pitching I've ever seen on the South Side. And then, of course, as you mentioned, what they did in the playoffs was amazing. But then you get the unsung heroes of having 3 closers, including the late Bobby Jenks that's part of that season. And then you just had these unsung heroes. To me, the White Sox coming into 05 is White Sox as usual. Here's a cast-off like Jermaine Dye. Here's Pasednik. Here's Joe Crete. Like guys that you've seen, like, okay, these are just typical Kenny Williams, just piecemealing a team together, and it all worked sonically. It was amazing in 05. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, A.J. Przinsky was signed that offseason.
Yeah.
Tadahito Iguchi was signed. El Duque, Bobby Jenks off waivers, Jermaine Dye, Dustin Herbenson. They trade for Podsednik. It was insane. You're right. And they won 83 the year before, so you're thinking good things, but you're not necessarily thinking World Series. It was a pretty insane team. You're right, and great run at the end. So a lot of them will be there today. It'll be fun to catch up. I think Kenny and Rick are going to be there, so that'll be interesting as well. They, I assume, haven't been back since being let go. So all that's going to be good this week.
Wow, Kenny and Rick on the field, huh?
I don't know about that. They're not doing much on the field today because of the doubleheader. They're going to tomorrow. There's stuff before the game, and then 4 guys are throwing out the first pitch on Sunday for the championship. So I'm not sure what's happening on the field necessarily.
Yeah, and also John Rooney, he's off of the Cardinals. He's here in Chicago for a White Sox Twitter. He'll be here, which is great.
And he's the back page of the Sun-Times today. Good article by Jeff Agrest. I was reading it. Like, he won't say why he left.
I think we know.
Whatever the reason was,
Yeah.
he's found a home in St. Louis. He's really good at his job.
Yeah.
He's very, very, very good.
Tell us what's in your phone, Jesse. Give us some that you haven't told anyone else, including the Kirchin podcast or Buster Olney. Give us something.
Right. Well, I mean, this isn't that crazy, but I was yesterday when this isn't really newsy info, but this is just listening to you guys yesterday. I liked your little rant at the beginning, Cap, when you told Cub fans to calm down. It's insane that anybody would possibly be upset with this team, even after a bad loss or two. Do you realize the Cubs are one of 2 teams, take Japan out of it, one of 2 teams that have not been swept, and not been swept in a 3-game series or longer. So even with Japan, that was 2 games. They have not been swept in a 3-game series, okay? Them and the Tom Waddle Cincinnati Reds. So the idea that they went 1-2 against pick a team in June and 1-2 against another team and Tigers, whoever, give me a break. One of 2 teams. Do you know how hard it is to go into late July here, mid-July, and not get swept in a series? Just to have a bad weekend. That's incredible. That's incredible. So anybody that gets upset after a loss or 2 is just crazy. It's just crazy. This team is really good, and if they're bad, they're not bad for very long. So whether it be plus 500, minus 500, I would say calm down. And that's why I liked your rant yesterday, Cap. But I think that's just a great stat. This long without getting swept in a 3-game series. Or
Jess, how about this? People are all for here comes the July swoon. Guess what? They are closer to having the number 1 seed in the NL than the Brewers are to the Cubs.
Yeah. Look, the Brewers won the division by 10. I never thought they were going to lay down. Now, in May, there was a percentage chance that the Cubs would run away because Milwaukee was sputtering. They had injuries on the mound, and their offense was stalled. But that was just a percentage chance, 25% chance. It didn't happen. Milwaukee righted the ship, and they're going to push the Cubs, and I don't think they're going to overtake them. But so what? You got to give Milwaukee credit. Don't take anything away from the Cubs season. Just
Agreed.
give Milwaukee credit.
Agreed.
So there you go.
Justin?
Here, I'm going to leave you with this too. Bigger rant, Jay Hood, in Chicago sports radio history.
Okay.
I mean, in Chicago, Lee Ilya or Pedro Grifol last year saying his team was effing flat.
I think Ilya by a mile.
Ilya wins. He's the greatest in sports history.
Now,
It has to be.
If Pedro would have said, and it will flow, it will flow. If he would have said that, then maybe he would have a puncher's chance.
Yeah, Grifol would have been better off ripping the fans instead of his own players because he completely lost the team in that moment. But I'm with you, Cap. Lee Ilya is the greatest in sports history. I don't care about Dennis Green or playoffs or whatever. That has to be the best of all time.
It's not even close.
All right, brother. We appreciate the time.
All right, boys. I'll see you later. Talk to you from Atlanta Monday.
All right.
I'll be at the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game.
On the field.
You got it, buddy.
Yuengling, the oldest brewery in America.
And Jesse Rogers is brought to you by my guys at Omatic.com. That's at Omatic.com.
We honor the greatest rant in sports history. Next on Kap J.